And we'll start with pick 38, TreVeyon Henderson, running back from Ohio State. How about this, guys? As dominant as Ohio State has been, he is only the third Buckeye the Patriots have picked in the last 50 years, joining, fourth Buckeye the Patriots have picked in the last 50 years, joining Terry Glenn, Andy Katzenmoyer, and Nate Ebner. So I think with Mike Vrabel here, they're probably going to dip into that talent pool a little more. TreVeyon Henderson starts it off. Explosive back. Explosive, big play threat. People are going to kind of comp him to James White. He can play in that role. I think he can do more than just play in that role. And that's what's exciting to me, is that the one knock on the situational running back splits, which is fair, is the offense can become predictable. Even though they won in 18, I remember that being the storyline throughout that season. It was like when Sony Michel was in the game, I think they ran the ball like 65% of the time, 70% of the time, something like that. And it was a legitimate concern. Now, they were so freaking good at running the ball, it didn't really matter, but it is a consideration. Well, I think with Henderson, he's a guy that can be a feature back. Most of the times when they did that split, the feature back was the early down back guy. This could look a little different where the feature back is the passing down back. Brian, your thoughts on TreVeyon Henderson?
Well, first of all, Barth, we nailed the pick. Pat's beat Friday morning, and then Taylor got on board too.
We did.
But I love the
Taylor
player.
texted me about it, I think Thursday night.
I think I was like, that was when I was like, I got to start watch. I got to like get this guy on my radar because he's so good. And yeah, we were all on the same page.
You were like,
we were talking about him, and then I walk into Gillette, and I'm like, Taylor, who are you watching on film? And he's like, TreVeyon Henderson. And I'm like, there we go. Stars are aligned. So I love the player. Like you mentioned, the explosiveness. Like he has the ability to flip the field. And the pass catching work, pass catching, like Josh McDaniels is going to have a field day with this guy. You can move him around the formation. He's such a mismatch. Go watch him out wide against Purdue, that double move and the ball tracking ability. Watch his pass pro highlights. Like it is really fun to watch. You mentioned James White. Like this is a faster, more explosive James White that can also play on early down. So he is a tremendous back. You needed that explosiveness. Again, someone who can flip the field in an instant into this offense. So I don't love necessarily running back at 38, top of the second round, the positional value, but I love the player. And so I'm not going to get on them too much for taking the best player available on their board. And that definitely seemed like Henderson.
Mike.
Yeah, I'll echo what Brian said about the value of a running back at pick 38. But when we get into the rest of their day 2 haul, which we will in a second, like it made sense. And they still were able to fill the wide receiver hole that I thought they should have early on day 2, which, they ended up doing a little bit later on. And so, no, as far as the player goes, it adds another dynamic, skill set to their offense. Somebody that isn't just going to run the football. He's going to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's like a 6th offensive lineman in pass protection. His pass protection is arguably his best, his best attribute. And so, yeah, I'm sort of anti-running back sometimes, but with when they did it, where they did it, that's kind of the question mark. But as Brian said, and Elliot Wolf told us, they sort of had a conversation with where they were going to go at that junction of the draft. And when it came down to it, their other player was gone anyway. So they just went with the best player consensus. And again, where I'm at with running backs is don't hitch your wagon to one and kind of rotate them through. So if this is what they do with Henderson and they start to, maybe move off someone like Ramondre a little bit early and he's your guy for the next couple of years, then that's fine with me. So again, the rest of the haul made it more acceptable to me, but he's a great player and he's going to help their offense.
Taylor, you were in on Ash and Genty, and then obviously that didn't happen. And I feel like a lot of the Genty people pivoted and then got in on TreVeyon Henderson. Is that just similarities? Was it best running back available? And do you feel like they're going to maybe get something out of Henderson that you were hoping they would get out of Genty?
Yeah, because for me, the only reason I even consider Genty was because if you're going to invest premium capital in a running back, they have to do everything, right? Not just like Ramondre, where it's like, yeah, you can catch passes in the flat, you can catch screens and do that effectively. You need to be able to get out of the backfield and run effective routes and be able to produce downfield is really where I start to say like, okay, I understand because you're a matchup threat. I wasn't even really looking at those early down backs because I figured it would be more of like a LaQuint Allen, a Woody Marks kind of guy that I went for, maybe a Cam Scatabo. But then after Genty, had to look at TreVeyon, and he does the same thing where he really is. Usually, if you're a great blocker, and that's the first thing people mention, it's condescending as a running back because that's like your third job. But he's so good at it. It's not an insult. He is just like on a different level because he's trying to plant people consistently. But he also isn't over aggressive, at least from what I saw, where he's throwing his body and putting the quarterback at risk. Then as a runner, honestly, I see him as more of like a Rex Burkhead type than a James White, but like obviously a souped up Rex Burkhead, where Rex could also like carry the ball 15, 20 times a game. If you needed him to be the guy that week, like, and you know, the Josh McDaniels offenses, it could be a different guy every week. They would just kind of ride the hot hand. Henderson is that kind of guy where he, like Burkhead, could be a receiver. He could be a running back. The drive against the Rams, the scoring drive where McDaniels just had the same grouping and they just marched down the field. It was because they had Burkhead where you really didn't know. I think the Rams actually said when they put Rex out there with Devlin, they were like, we don't really know how to defend this because this guy's actually a receiver. That's what Henderson gives you. And I love the idea of putting him on the field with Antonio Gibson or Lamb Larson, because those are guys who legitimately can run the ball or be receivers, and they're going to be matchup nightmares. So, yeah, I was late on board, but because TreVeyon is someone who does so many things at a high level and protects the football, that's the biggest thing. Where there were some guys with similar skill sets, but they put the ball on the ground sometimes. This guy's 2 fumbles in his entire career, and he's a proven guy. I really like it, knowing that he's going to be in a committee where he's never going to really have to be the guy.
Yeah, so for me, it's a case of with the first pick and a big part of the debate, more so than the individual players when we were getting ready for this draft, was best player available versus drafting for need and how much weight you should put on a premium position. And I think the Patriots went to the extremes with their first 2 picks. Will Campbell, not to say he was not a great player, but Will Campbell was a needs pick at a premium position. They then come back out at 38, and except for one guy I'll talk about in a second, there is a case that TreVeyon Henderson was the best player available. Obviously not a premium position, but they went BPA. The guy Henderson's going to be compared to for his entire career, at least in New England, is Luther Burden, because the Patriots needed an explosive receiver. Burden certainly was that, went with the next pick. I don't think Burden was on their board because of
kind
his...
of similarly too, funny enough, when you think about it. The design touches that Burden got, they had similar uses in their offenses.
Well, Prize Picks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. And all you got to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. So run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And right now, you can cash in on the basketball playoffs. So do not miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court into your Prize Picks lineups, whether it's points, rebounds, assists, or anything. Make sure to just pick more or less, and you get up to 2,000 times your cash. You think LeBron James will get more than 24 points? Think Giannis will score more than 35? Cook up those hot takes with your friends and win real money this basketball season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. And all you got to do is sign up today, download the app, and use code CLNS. You get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.